The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hi, this is Mia Mosinzia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing, Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People, based upon a real-life relationship, available in print and ebook formats on Amazon. Do read it. I'm sure you'll love it. It's www.miamosinzia.com and www.amazon.com/Mia
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, along with Amazon, Audible, Apple, and more. And coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, TuneIn, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with the king of all festivals. He's owned not just several radio stations, but a lot of radio stations, and he'll tell you about that. He is a great interviewer, motivational speaker, and, of course, owner of several radio stations. He's the founder of Talk for Media, Pipeman Productions, and one of them is the top-ranked Jimmy and Ron Russell Show. We'll talk about that, and he's just a lot of things. Eventually, Pipeman in the Pit, Pipeman's Power of Music, Positively Pipeman. Can you say this 10 times fast? And he was putting me up to a challenge with this earlier, and I think we'll have a contest afterwards. But live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plush Studio somewhere in the United States, ladies and gentlemen, the king of all festivals, interviewer, motivational speaker, and owner of many great radio stations, Dean the Pipeman Piper. Dean, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you. And I got to tell you, I'm already sold on everything you said so far just because of your voice.
Really? That is amazing. I think I'm just about sold on you. It's like, before talking as well. So, I mean, you've done a lot. I mean, you're basically interviewer, motivational speaker, owner of several radio stations, and you've got a lot. Adventures of Pipeman. I got right here, too, looking here, the connected table, in your face, let's just talk. Pipeman Radio, Pipeman, the paid organic health lifestyle. I mean, just a plethora. And not only you're the owner of all these radio stations, you're giving people the opportunity to be on the show, whether as a guest or having their own show and whatever else. I mean, you just got a great story to tell. And before we do all that, tell us how you first got started, Dean.
Well, it's funny because I don't even come from this business, but I do come from being very passionate about the things in this business, which is, talk and music. Like, I'm passionate about both. I started listening to people like Tony Robbins and Zig Ziglar when I was 11 years old. I was in the metal scene very heavily in the 80s in LA around the Sunset Strip. But, in young adulthood, I took a different path that it's kind of funny. Everything just came full circle because I was very big in the investment business. I owned several brokerage firms, and I used to actually pay to do a radio show just to get leads for my business. And that was really the way I got into radio, which is not the way people get into radio. That's that's the other side of the fence. So that sets me apart. Like, I know what it's like to be on both sides of the fence. Mm-hmm. And then through that, I was always, a motivational type of person, not, just in my life. And, my dad used to have this line: if 50 people tell you you're drunk, lie down.
I'll remember that.
There you go. And it's good advice, because what happened was I had a love-hate relationship with the investment business. I loved the money, loved the action, hated everything else. Mm-hmm. And everybody I ever encountered in that business used to say to me, you should be a motivational speaker. Mm-hmm. So I followed my dad's advice one day. And when I got to 50 people telling me I was drunk, I handed the keys to one of the brokers that worked for me and said, I'm done. Here, it's your firm now. I'm going to go be a motivational speaker. Mm-hmm. And there was the next segue into radio, because I was still doing radio shows, but now I was paying to do radio shows to promote my seminars, to promote my positive message, and just basically, empower the world. The thing that I noticed, and, I'm all about opportunities. We're going through a pandemic right now. There's bad, but there's also opportunities too. And I think there's people that are going to come out of this pandemic, with their lives changed for the better, mm-hmm. And you don't really know it when you're in it. It just comes. So that's what happened to me. Is basically I went through like one of the worst times of my life. Divorce, all that fun stuff. And then, I was doing this radio show on an internet radio station like 15 years ago when it was really in its severe infancy. There wasn't even, the word podcast didn't even exist yet in the English language. Mm-hmm. And, I was used to going to these fancy studios at real radio stations in New York and stuff. And I was in this guy's studio, and it was kind of a schlock operation to speak in my language. It was, it was, I was in the guy's dining room at the dining room table. That's what he's calling his studio. And the dog's coming up to me, the cat's on the studio table. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't what I envisioned radio to be. But what I did envision was internet radio was where it was all going. And there were so many things I was saying, but coming from the professional type of investment business, one thing I knew is the only way internet radio would survive and become the mainstream is if you ran it like a real radio station. Just because you can do something from your dining room doesn't mean you should. Mm-hmm. I didn't even want to bring guests there. So who wants to bring a guest? When you bring a guest into a radio studio, it's to impress them. So if you're bringing them to somebody's dining room table, I don't know, it's not that impressive.
But you got to start somewhere. That's the thing. I mean, look at this right here. It's just like, this is just ordinary, to be honest with you. I mean, with internet podcasting, it's like you can broadcast anywhere from where you're at. I've had people do it from their car, from a hotel room, and I think and there was someone I had on there that had maybe 20 cats and dogs that's just surrounding him. It was amazing. I mean, almost like, it's time for the pet radio hour.
Yeah, we have that too, because we do have pet shows. So it's like funny, the guests that come on the pet shows, the dog's barking in the background, maybe the dog and the cat are chasing each other. And, it then becomes an informative, but also an entertaining show.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the modern day Tom and Jerry.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And of course, our guests spent most of the time just talking about their dogs, their cats, or even their kids walk in. I just say, before we answer this or talk about that, let's bring your special guest. Back in the day, people got mad, but now it's really good entertainment value. And there was one time I did a Facebook Live, and my cat Taylor jumped in front of me and started just nuzzling and licking and everything else. And guess who got the most likes and comments?
Of course.
Yes. And that's how I discovered that spontaneity like that just works out just great too. Better for your ratings and better for listeners and more revenue coming in.
It's funny you should say that, because I've said that all the time. I say that to my show hosts that do shows. You got to just be real. To me, the entertainment of radio is that it's real. It's one thing I've always found. As a motivational speaker, I don't generally like to have motivational speakers on my radio show. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is they get on and they get in the zone and they think they're doing a seminar. People go to a seminar for a seminar. They don't tune into the radio for a seminar.
Right.
They want to get informed. They want to get educated, but they want to get entertained as well. And I tell people, it's like, people tune into radio and get entertained. It doesn't mean you have to do this whole dog and pony show. It just means make it engaging, make it something where people are having fun. I interview a lot of rock stars. I've done over 2,000 interviews with different music artists and stuff. And the same thing I always get at the end of the interview that makes me feel so great and I did my job is they're like, that was fun. Because I think about it from their perspective, that's got to be the worst part of the job. You're playing music, you're doing it. Who wants to sit down and do some professional, scripted interview? And that's what usually happens. You see a lot of press people, they got their notes there and they're like, and so how did you get your band name? And they didn't hear that 2 million times.
It's almost like they're tired of the same questions over and over. And one of the guests I had on, where the big challenge is that what question have you never asked a guest, or rephrase it in a very creative way? So that's a challenge of anything as well. And of course, like you said, you read notes and everything. I have people do that too. It's like, it's not conversation at all. You're right. And if you're reading off a script, I say, you know what? Get a 16-year-old to do it. I mean, seriously.
Well, yeah. And you know what, too? If you're a pro, okay, so that could kind of inhibit you, because when I go and do festivals, when Vans Warped Tour was going on, I would literally sit there in a trailer for 4 hours and they would just bring me one band after another, no break in between. You can't study for that. When you're doing tomorrow, I have 13 interviews tomorrow.
Wow.
Right after another. You can't really study for that and be scripted, and nor should you. I believe the interview takes a life of its own. And if you're not focused on the question, you can be focused on the answer. And the answer is what creates the great interview.
And rightfully so as well, too. And, of course, we'll talk about some of the radio stations you've owned and also some of your other projects. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, along with 25 podcast platforms, including Amazon, Audible, Apple, SoundCloud, as well as Buzzsprout, Podbean, TuneIn, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with the king of all festivals, interviewer, motivational speaker, and owner of several radio stations, which is 70 times 7 here on the Mike Wagner Show. And you're also founder of Talk 4 Media, Pipeman Productions, and I'm going to do this very fast and see how you do. We have the Adventure of the Pipeman, Pipeman in the Pit, Pipeman's Power of Music, and positively Pipeman and the Power of Pipeman. Whew, that's a mouthful.
Well, you have to practice the Peter Piper poem to be able to do that.
And of course, before you talk about some of your great shows as well, too, and we were talking about some of the festivals, and you've been in concerts and press coverage, red carpets and everything, and maybe some of the more memorable moments that you had when it comes to these festivals, and maybe something that just stood out that was heartwarming, maybe some of those just outright hilarious. It's almost like a comedy of some sorts.
Well, I got to tell you, my most memorable moment is actually being able to be at a festival. Because we don't have them this year.
I was talking about before that, so before the pandemic hit.
Yeah, no, that's why I was just joking around because I was in Costa Rica in March, and then I came back in the beginning of March, and I came back to Florida, and we got locked down a week later. But the interesting thing is I had about 50 festivals, concerts, and events that I had on the schedule that I was getting ready for, which is why I was taking a little break in Costa Rica. And little did I know, I would have a break for the rest of the year. It's almost like a forced vacation in some respects. Mm-hmm. That's the good news. The bad news is it's a forced vacation in some respects. But yeah, I mean, basically, and going back to your original thing is, that's what started me in radio is I saw the opportunity that was happening with podcasting, internet radio, when there wasn't even a word podcasting. I told people about podcasting. They thought I was nuts. I told people about, internet radio in cars. They thought I was nuts. I kind of viewed it as like Bill Gates and IBM. Bill Gates went to IBM and said, hey, I see a PC in every home. And they're like, you're nuts. The mainframe will never go away. And we know how that ended. Well, fast forward 13, 14 years later, here we are, listening to radio on our phones, listening to radio in our cars, and all that. And, one thing I pride myself is setting up studios that are just like an AM FM studio, like real radio. We do, we have real studios, real engineers, state-of-the-art equipment, my mixer board is bigger than the table I'm sitting at right now. And then the other part of it is having that presence. And you've been in radio a long time. You can't have a radio station without doing remote live broadcasts and without being out there. And so that's kind of what led that is initially I was doing events everywhere and broadcasting live at all these different events. And then it was just a natural transition into doing music festivals and concerts and doing press coverage. And I do press coverage for even the radio events. It's kind of unreal. Like, you have NAB, which I'm sure you're familiar with, and you have NAM, and you have a radio show and podcast movement. I do press coverage for all these events. So it is kind of surreal, too, to go from coming into this business as an outsider, and now I'm reporting on the business itself.
And that's something as well, too. And you've got, Talk 4 Media, Pipeman Productions, and I'm reading this number here, 206 countries and all U.S. states. And I'm like, mind blowing. So you can just talk about the Talk 4 media as well, too, and some of your great radio stations, W4CY, W4WN, W4CS, W4 HET, W4HC. It's almost sounds like ham radio, and I remember listening to ham radio still, CQ, 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 and here I am talking ham radio with these stations right here.
There you go. Well, you know what's funny about that is I got a call several years ago that apparently there's a ham radio station that was W4CY, little did I know. And so they call me up complaining because I have their website. Well, I didn't have their website. They just never bothered to get one. And, you know, they're telling me I have to take my website down, take my radio station down. I'm like, listen, I have it trademarked. I have it copywritten. I'm registered. You know, I'm licensed with ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, Sound Exchange. I don't know why I have to take it down. And they tried a couple times, and here I am later and still haven't. So it's pretty funny. They were confused. You know, they were upset that my internet radio station, I guess, stole their ham station. I don't know, but that wasn't the intent for sure. But it's funny that you should mention the ham radio. And, you know, and I mean, what happened is it's funny. You mentioned the 206 countries, and it flashes me back to I kept counting. Like, it was 10 countries, then it was 13, then it was 25. And you know, it's funny. One of the shows on my station, the Jimmy Star Show. Jimmy Star has been on my network for 13 years, and he was part of that. When I would always send out an email, oh, now we're in this many countries, and now we're in this many countries, and just the evolution of how it happened, and with the radio stations, like you mentioned, all these radio stations. Well, I started with one, W4CY Radio was the original one, and the reason I called it W4CY Radio is because I was looking up for a domain name that had 4 letters, like radio letters, and there were none. So I was like, at the time I had a marketing company, and when I was doing my MBA in marketing, they were teaching that the 4 Ps are no longer the mantra in marketing, it's the 4 Cs. So I had this marketing company called 4C Marketing Group before I did the radio stations. And so I'm like, you know, for kind of craps and giggles, I decided, let me check doing W4CY. I had this whole thing, and the .com was available, so I bought it. So that's how that started. But then, as I'm doing all these different topics, some topics became more popular than others, and that's what formed the other radio stations. So, like, one of them is W4WN, which is the Women for Women Network. Had a lot of women empowerment shows, and I had somebody that was doing a show on my station and said, listen, I think you should set up an all-women's station. You'd get a lot of people that would want to do shows on that. And so I listened, and it turned out to be one of my biggest stations.
Wow.
And then I was dealing with somebody that dealt in the cancer community, and I did a lot with health and wellness, and I'm a big believer in a lot of things in health and wellness that should be given out there to the public. And so I had somebody who was very involved in the cancer and caregiving community, and they're like, you know what, there isn't any radio station that's just a cancer station. We should start a cancer station so that we can give awareness, help, support to all cancer caregivers or families and everything else. So that formed W4CS Radio, which is the Cancer Support Network. And then from that, we just expanded even more into health and wellness with W4HC, which is the Health Cafe Live. It's our health and wellness network. Then, you know, I started invading the West Coast, because that's another thing. I'm internet radio, but I have multiple locations. And everybody's like, well, why do you have multiple locations? You're internet radio. Again, going back to my philosophy, the look and feel of a real radio station, you still have to have the local markets for the local people. So I decided to invade LA, and that's where K4HD Radio, my other radio station, formed, because, of course, the West Coast, as you know, being in the business, has big K. So I came up with K1. And, you know, these are all the radio stations under the umbrella of the Talk 4 Media Corporation. But we also do so much more. We do marketing. We do production, assets for radio shows, production of TV shows, production of podcasts, production of radio shows, events, all this stuff. So we're basically like that one-stop shop for everything media and marketing, basically. And we started as marketing, so it's not like, hey, we just decided to do some marketing. It's like it all does go hand in hand. As you know, you've been in the business a long time. Radio and marketing are two words that are always said together.
Mm-hmm. And promotion as well, too. And also presentation and, just about everything. Positively Pipeman, the power of Pipeman, and, just a lot of positive stuff. Pipeman, power of music, Pipeman, the Pip. But not only that, but you also have Pipeman's Monopoly Zero Nair, if I got that right. I'm looking at a website.
Yeah.
Oh, so that was light. And what else? Let's Just Talk, In Your Face, A Connected Table, Epic Love, and Dr. J Today, Control Chaos. And, now that you have all those shows, you also give people the opportunity to have their own radio show. Or if they want to be a guest, that's fine too. It's not like where everything's all yours. You're allowing people to have their own radio show on your network. And for those out there listening that say, hey, I want to have my own radio show, tell everybody, how can they have their own radio show on your network?
Well, see, here's the thing, too, okay? So as I was saying before, I come from the other side. So I've always run my radio station from a host perspective instead of a radio station owner perspective. I always found that when I was hosting radio shows on other stations, there were things I would have wanted. And so that's what I give to the people that do a show on our station. I customize. It's not cookie card and cutter. It's not live and die by the rate card. Let's find out what your purpose is, what your goals are, and customize something that fits all that. So we give people the opportunity where they can host their own live radio show that has listeners in every country in the world, every state in the United States. We're professionally engineered. It's professionally engineered. You're not doing it DIY. We also do the podcasting. So if you want to just do a podcast, you can do that as well. We also do both. You can have both. Most of ours do both. I think you can't have one without the other. And then we also have a TV station. So we do live internet TV. And, so you can have your TV, your radio. I developed over the years, because of my reputation, a partnership with iHeartRadio, with Spotify, Pandora. Recently, Amazon Music just launched. We have a partnership with, and soon to be Audible is going to be launching podcasts. So we not only produce it, we not only broadcast it, but we distribute it, and we create shows for our people on all these outlets and distribute to over 100 other outlets. So basically, people's show can be heard anywhere you can hear podcasts, and then, of course, on our live radio station. And then we promote it, we market it, and all that. So basically, if they were to reach out to me, we don't want to make this an infomercial, so they want to reach out to me, and they think they might want to have a radio show, or might not, just looking, thinking about it, or they want to be a guest on a show, or they want to make a podcast, or they need marketing, anything like that. They can give me a call, number one, at 561-506-4031, or they could also email me, Dean, DEAN, at talk4media.com. That's TALK, the number 4, MEDIA.com. You can also catch me everywhere on social media as Pipeman Radio. That's my handle on all social media. Everywhere, I'm everywhere, So if there's a Pipeman Radio, you're going to find me.
And definitely so too. Of course, you talked about having back a long time ago, having a radio show on your computer, listening all media on your phone, and one day it could be on a wristwatch, like Dick Tracy back in the day. It's like everything on a wristwatch with Dick.
Oh, we can listen right now. We can listen right now on my Apple Watch.
Yes, that's right. I just remember that, Fitbit and everything else. And why don't you just type in the Mike Wagner Show and go to anything like, Spotify, iHeart, or say with iTunes, Apple, type it in and, just show it up. I think that's like a great advertising tool. I love that. And hey guys, if you want to give me your Apple Watches, I'm up for it. So.
Funny enough, I actually won this Apple Watch that I listened to my shows on from a podcast convention that I was doing press for.
Wow.
So, see how it all works? I go, a little karma there. I do a little press coverage, give them some promotion. They give me a watch, and now I can listen to my show.
Boy, what can people think of next? And of course, what's up next for the Pipeman? We'll talk about that very quickly, but first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@SonicWebStudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, along with Amazon, Audible, Apple, and coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Tuned In, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with the Pipe Man, Dean Piper, here on the Mike Wagner Show, king of all festivals and king of all radio stations and internet stations as well, too. Not just the stations we mentioned, the adventures of Pipeman, The Pit, Pipeman's Power of Music, Positively Pipeman, and the Power of Pipeman. And yeah, and I think I just got through all that. And what do you got coming up for us in 2021 and beyond in your ever-expanding network, Dean?
Well, first thing I'm going to do that I recommend everybody watching this does is, as soon as I get off of here, I'm going to go subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show everywhere.
You got my thumbs up, as Evil and Siskel do back in the day. Say, you hear something that tickles your ears? It's double thumbs up. And I'm sure Ebert and Siskel are doing it right now upstairs, y'all. Mike Wagner Show, 2 thumbs up.
There it is. So, yeah, that's the first thing I'm going to do. But I have a lot of things that, this whole pandemic, you could look at it a couple ways. The way I look at it is it gave me some downtime to do some creative things that I've been planning on doing that we don't really have time to do. So I've created some new things. We're launching a whole TV network very shortly. We already have a TV station, but now we're going to launch a TV network where people can bring their content to us. We have a major virtual conference that's going to be going on in March. That is going to be like nothing that's ever been seen before. It's going to be all virtual, but it's going to be as if you were there. But we're going to combine many different worlds that I'm in. We're going to combine my motivational world, my radio world, my music world, and my health and wellness world, as well as horror, pop culture, basically every world that I'm involved in one place. And most places don't do that. And then, of course, we're hoping things like start to open up. I mean, I'm already promoting a festival called Aftershock that's going on in 2021. It was supposed to be in October 2020. Of course, we didn't have it, but they just announced the lineup, and we're promoting it where, Metallica is going to play 2 nights, 2 different sets. And there's just a lineup that's absolutely incredible. And we'll be doing free ticket giveaways. We do that on the station. And we just have a lot more expansion things we have some things we're working on with a new TV and radio station having specifically to do with music and music artists, having their own shows on there. So there's a lot of things going on. We're always expanding, always growing. And, I see the pandemic as an opportunity to incorporate what we had and add some things new and go to a much better place. The way I look at it is, hey, the 1918 pandemic, right after that was the Roaring 20s. So look ahead. It's quite bright out there.
Yes, definitely so. And I'm getting my sunglasses custom more just for that. And I'm going to say, make sure sunglasses are coming. So I'm just talking about the podcast. There you go. Oh, the future's so bright, you got to wear shades. I got to tell you that. So
there you go. Absolutely.
I'll tell you one thing. After talking to you, Dean, I feel so motivated. And of course, people come to you for motivational speaking, and then how do they come to you for motivational speaking and for all your services and whatever else, and how do people get in touch?
Okay, so basically, I mean, as far as a motivational speaker, I've shared the stage with people like Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Tom Hopkins, Mark Victor Hansen, Jack Canfield, Les Brown, John Gray, Barbara DeAngelis, just to do a little name drop in there, and basically people come to me because they want to change their life, but I don't change their life, they change their life. As is said by Tony Robbins, there is no such thing as being motivating somebody. It's all self-motivation. But you give them the tools, and you give them the mindset. I'm big about mindset. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do with it. There's a motivational speaker. His name is W. Mitchell. And I recommend people look him up. He is 90% burned from one accident and quadriplegic from another. And that's what he says. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do with it. We sit here during these times and we think about all the things we can't do. Here's a person that can't do a lot by our standards, and his attitude is, hey, before those accidents, there were 10,000 things I can do. Now there's 9,000. I focus on the 9,000, not the 1,000 I can't do anymore. And you look at that always in history. It's the people that have gone through the biggest tragedy and the biggest downs that have come through it and are the most positive people and appreciate life the most. And, what this pandemic does say is life is short. Live it to the fullest. Enjoy it. Stop worrying about the little things, and just make it, make whatever you want your life to be to happen. That's what happened to me, okay? I am finally doing what I'm meant to do and what I want to do. And because it's a passion, not for anybody else, not for money, it's the passion. And when you do that, everything else falls into place. And, it doesn't hurt if they go out and buy my book. Who said life doesn't come with an owner's manual? Get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any of those places. And, that could help too. It's my second favorite book in the world. Because my first favorite's Og Mandino's The Greatest Salesman in the World, and I just want to let everybody know that that'll change your life. It changed mine, and it changed many. And as far as getting a hold of me, like I said, Pipeman Radio everywhere. Any social media I'm on, I don't know, I'm everywhere. I'm on multiple Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, you name it, I'm there. I think I still even have a MySpace account. I haven't been on it, but if you want to go check it out, I'm probably still there.
Wow. MySpace. Oh my gosh. That's what, 2000, 2005. I think I have some old pictures on there. Oh my gosh. And I go on there, I'll be like, it's just,
yeah, right.
No wonder. I'm trying to think. Who is it? Who is it? One guy, was it Mark Wahlberg? It's like, I can see why he bought it. It's just
I'm surprised really nobody brought it back. Now that there's all this social media, somebody could come in with some fresh ideas and it's MySpace 2.0 or something like that.
MySpace 2.0. And next thing you know, you have a Facebook 2.0, Instagram 2.0, or LinkedIn 2.0, or TikTok 2.0, or, just say radio 3.0, internet radio 3.1, or say with, podcasting, say 3.2. So, or maybe just was it, Up High Radio, was it 3.16 or something like that? So, yeah.
And my shows that you mentioned a lot of, some are segments of the show, like The Adventures of Pipeman is my main show. And it's really kind of a place where, who knows and anything goes. It's a combination of all my personalities. And yes, I have many of them. Some call it a sickness. I call it a blessing. It gives me a radio personality, And then Pipeman the Pit is a bunch of my music interviews, that I'm doing at these festivals and at these concerts and phoners. And same with Pipeman's Power Music. Positively Pipeman is my motivational stuff, but it's also interviewing other business people and all different topics, all types of business and, information and, stuff like that. So you get a little bit of everything with me. It's kind of like some people have said it's kind of like where Tony Robbins meets Howard Stern.
And don't forget Robin Quivers. Has to be his wife or somebody. So you got to put in Robin Quivers somehow to make it more interesting.
I have my own Robin Quivers on my show.
Oh, that's fascinating. It's like we got to have them on one day too. So
there you go.
Exactly. We're here with the Pipeman, Dean Piper, here on the Mike Wagner Show. A very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career, Dean? We have a couple of minutes here.
It's tough to pick just one, but I will actually say if I was going to pick one, it would be my father, who's not with us anymore. But my father, he was one of the greatest salespeople ever, and he taught me business and marketing and sales from the time I was like 11 years old. And he also taught me, that nobody's going to give you anything. You go out there and get it. You seize these opportunities. And, he taught me to, you reap what you sow, and he taught me my work ethic, and he taught me, my unstoppable, persevering, persistent, ambitious, driven, hungry mindset and attitude towards going things. And, I took everything that was good from him and disregarded all that was bad, like most people should. We can learn from everybody, no matter who they are, and even if there's good things, even if there's bad things, we learn from all of them.
Mm-hmm. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point, Dean?
Get out of your own way. We're our worst enemy. Okay. Stuff's going to happen in life. You can't control that, but you can control how you react to it. You can control what you do with it. Again, I'll go back to we're in a pandemic right now. There's people that are suffering. It's terrible. But there's also people that can see the forest through the tree, and that's what you focus on, the forest through the tree. We will get through this, and I will say something that think about in your life. When things happen in our lives, they seem to happen forever while we're going through them. And then when we look back on them, they're just a little blip in our life. So, as hard as things may be now, 3 years from now, we could be looking back and like, wow, can't believe, and as you know, the older we get, the faster time moves. Like it kind of blows my mind, it was just yesterday I turned 24, and now a couple days ago I turned 54. It's ridiculous.
It's just like, with my marriage, I'm married to my lovely wife, Serena, June 1991. I tell everybody, getting close to 30 years, I said, it feels like we just got married yesterday.
I know, right? What's funny about that is my kid's mom, I met her in June of 90. And then, so, we're kind of on the same wavelength there, except I'm not with her anymore. So congrats to you.
Thank you very much. And the one thing I can say is that, oh, boy, time flies when you have too much fun with everything you do, and passion and all that. Once again, the Pipeman, Dean Piper, here on the Mike Wagner Show. A very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. We need to do this again very soon, Dean. And
sure.
Before we go here, once again, tell us about your upcoming projects, what's your website, how do people contact you, where can people check out all your wonderful works?
Okay, so basically, you can check our radio stations. You can either go to the websites for the radio stations or download the apps. It's W4CY.com, W4WN.com, W4HC.com, K4HD.com, W4CS.com. Talk4Media.com is our main corporate site, and it just basically lists everything that we have. But if you want to check out our content, you go there. And then, of course, you're going to want to search for Pipeman Radio everywhere. You'll find my show not only on my station, but you'll find it on iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, Amazon Music, and about 100 others. So anywhere you listen to podcasts, just look for The Adventures of Pipeman, Pipeman the Pit, Positively Pipeman, and Pipeman Radio. And then, of course, on social media everywhere, it's Pipeman Radio. And then you can always feel free to email me, Dean@talk4media.com. You can call me 561-506-4031. And, or if you go onto one of our websites, you can fill out a form on there, or you can just listen to the station. Or we also do lots of prizes, giveaways, contests. Like I said, right now we're doing giveaways for Aftershock concert, and we got a lot more coming up. So definitely subscribe to us. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Talk4TV. That's TALK, the number 4 TV. And that's where you'll catch our TV shows, including the Jimmy Star Show, who is one of our longest running shows on the network, and was just ranked as the number 1 show podcast in the world. And then my show, The Adventures of Pipeman, was ranked as number 5. So
a very good company, according to the New York and LA Times Weekly. It's like number 1, number 5, and you guys even beat out Elvis Duran, Joe Rogan, and all that. And when I looked at Liz, I went, I'm on there at number 40. I went, this is great company that we're all in. I mean, we're just so thankful to be doing what we're doing. It's just absolutely great.
We're all in it together, and everybody needs to remember that. Forget all this division. We're united together, no matter who we are, what we do. We're all one race, the human race, and we're all one business in the radio business. And, if we just all band together, we can conquer anything.
That's right. We are just like this. Once again, the Pipeman, Dean Piper here on the Mike Wagner Show. A very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely great. Learned a lot from you. We got to do this again soon, and looking forward to chatting again. Do us a favor. Keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. And, you can come by as often as you like. Just drop me an email, and let's do it again real soon, Dean. You've been absolutely fantastic.
You got it, and we'll have you on my show, too.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hi, this is Mia Mosinzia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing: Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based upon a real-life relationship, available in print and ebook formats on Amazon. Do read it. I'm sure you'll love it. It's www.miamosinzia.com and www.amazon.com/miamosinzia.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.